some water now.
Over the top, out the moon, out the box with burden lines. You heard me right, I serve it hype. Out the box and underline like Mario Kart, skirting in between the rides. I just slip my mind like a banana peel. I feel inside myself, so I reside the wealth inside the knowledge. Cause it's a lot that I've been piling, riding high, smoking goods and feeling fly. God.
Cool.
That was cool.
That was sick. Yo, man. I love the freestyles, man.
Yeah, I really like how at the end it dropped out. Like, that was cool. I didn't expect it to do that. I was wondering.
I always make sure to have a bunch of beats here, just in case for that moment exactly. Actually, just in case someone's like, man, I'd love to freestyle right now. I got you.
Sick, man. Welcome to Vine Tree Radio. It's your boy West here chilling with
Wowie. How's it going?
You know we got a guest. Introduce yourself.
Hey guys, name is Ariel. My artist name is Hispanic at the Disco. Looking forward to being here.
Thank you for coming, man.
Thank you, man.
Dude, I'm so happy to be here, man. I'm stoked, man. Like this is the fucking podcast, man. Like I know this shit is like this is where all it's all gonna lead to this, man. Thank you for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
Man, thank you for being around, bro. Before this shit was like a thing. Shit, I didn't know I was gonna be doing podcasting back when I first got to meet you. And through Mauricio, I had just knew like I was gonna try making some music with Mauricio, and like he had some beats that he was making that were really interesting. You know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy to think that like it came full circle. Like now, like us all being here in this pod, that's just kind of crazy.
That's super sick, dude.
I don't doubt it, man. Like I mean, Mauricio's talented. Like you're talented. Like I remember like when we were when you first told me about your music, I was like gun ho about it. I was like, I am all in. I am all fucking in. Yes, like God, yes. And so, like, when you told me to, like, yo, like, you do music, like, send me some shit. I want to see it. Like, I'm all about the Vine Tree universe, man. I want to see it grow. I want to see it turn into a forest, the forest tree.
That really is how that should be, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? But Game of Thrones, they about to do the whole dragon spinoff now.
They are?
Yeah, I seen them. They dropped the trailer for that shit now, like, with the dragon skin on it and everything.
I know they have that for, like, The Walking Dead, like, the Fear of the Walking, which makes no sense, but...
I could see it, though, being a universe or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like watch when I'm old, and then I have like there's like kids, Vine Trees, artists.
Yeah,
that'd be sick.
You can watch
Vine Tree Kids Division.
Vine Tree Kids. It's like Kids Bop. Yo, by the way, you know what's funny? You keep doing a Kids Bop. You know how the song WAP? They Kids Bopped it.
Oh,
so now
man.
it's wings and pizza.
Okay, wait. So what's wet though?
It's just wings and pizza. It's like, oh yeah, you're about to have some wings and pizza. Like it's really bad.
It's wings and pizza. So it's not like
it's still for kids.
Nothing's wet.
No, I mean the wings might be.
I feel like it's weird. Like it's a weird replacement because there's no adjective. Like they should have just made it like you know what I mean. Like something is like like that's a you know what I'm saying. That's a smart kid. Like like it feels good. Like I feel like that's strange. Right.
Kids Bop is a cult.
But on some real shit, man. Like Wes mentioned, you've been like a very early supporter, and you mentioned, bro, like you since the beginning you've been like all in. And like,
how was it meeting him? Yeah, I feel like from your I don't really get too much about that. Like from your perspective, how was it meeting like Ariel and finding out about the shit he was doing back then?
It was super sick. So Ariel and I met at the Marriott. We would work at nights, and so like I would only see you for like a short amount of time because we would be on the passing of shifts. You know,
pretty much.
You were that overnight, and so you would be coming in maybe like for a little bit before I would leave. But in some moments, like when we did get to work together, dude, you were like one of the most interesting people to like talk to and like that I've ever met, because like you live like a very interesting life, man. You live a very authentic life on top of that, and like that's something that I appreciate. Like you're someone that like you seem to speak your mind like freely and being okay with that, and like on top of that, like I feel like and this is just my take on it, like seeing you as the person I see you as is like I really do see you as like a big community figure on top of like not just being the individual that you are, but like it's funnily enough, if people that we've met all around, if there's one person they know like from around here, it's you.
Wow.
And so like that is super sick, and I love the fact that you have that capability. And so like it's always been a very interesting conversation, because on top of like the people that you've met and the experiences that you've had through there, the experiences that you've gone out and done, it's some dope stuff. So I'm super excited to have this, because even since the beginning, man, you've been someone I've been super eager to have on. And
damn, all right, shit, yo, y'all caught that? Yo, that means a lot, man. Like, thank you, dude. Like, fuck, man. Like, I appreciate it.
Them. Like, you definitely are somebody that like I feel like in different circles people know. Like, that was crazy how like you knew. Shout out to Chris Siders.
Yeah,
like
shout out
that
Chris.
Was crazy to me. Like at the time, like looking at that, because I remember initially like in meeting him, like it was like something I saw right away, and I was like, hey, do you know Ariel? And he was like, yeah, I actually do. Like, I was like, what?
It was like, well, this man lives like over like 40 minutes away. How do you know this man?
Yeah, that's good.
No, you know, I really appreciate that. Thanks, man. No, I try to like, you know, one of my things is like, ever since I was a young kid, I've always been like just chasing like vulnerability. Like that's what drew me to art, was like I kind of saw, like, you know, like toxic masculinity and all that shit. I kind of, it's not cool to like express yourself, which is weird, because I feel like most problems would be solved if you just like talked it out. You know what I mean? And like when I started doing like stand-up comedy and like other stuff, what I was really chasing for was I just like to see people express themselves, whatever that looks like, in any art form. Just give me a broad display of who you are. Comedy is the most digestible platform for that. But there's also like spoken word poetry. There's also rap. There's also like, you know, like just even like weirder, just like avant-garde types, or like clowning. Anything that just can express your humanity, that's the main, like, that's my bread and butter. That's the main thing I'm just looking for. So, like, you know, doing comedy, that's, like, cool. Going to spoken word art, I think that's even cooler, because that's just, like, they don't have to make it into an art. That's just you just throwing up your emotions on a stage. And that's just, that's just what I'm looking for, man. I just want to see how everybody's lived experiences, like, is compared to my own. I don't know why. Just always been drawn to that, you know? So like when Mauricio said like I do art, I'm like, yes, I want to know more about you, man. Like you're a cool guy. Like every time I'd see him in passing, I'm always like, this is the coolest guy here, like easily. Like,
thank you for that.
And it's just like, all right, you do music, shit, word, let me hear some of this shit. And then, you know, through him I found out about like your music, Wes, and I was like, all right, this is fucking cool. I'm here. I
think
for
we
this.
definitely kicked it at like a party or something before.
Probably, yeah.
We went to the like open mic, but it was like our first time just like meeting each other.
Yeah, for sure.
And then but then I remember him, one thing he was telling me, a shout out to you, he was telling me you really like my rapping and stuff on it, and like I thought that was really cool for me, at least at the time, because I was like just starting to do that part of the musics with them. So it was kind of just like, it was sick, like you said. It was like someone who was like a really day one, like,
dude, it's
there
not
from
easy.
the beginning. And yeah, and it's
you
not
make it
easy.
look easy. You make it look easy, man. Like shit. Like my video game beats are like whatever, but like you're able to elevate that shit, you know? Like I hate when I go on SoundCloud and I see like all these SoundCloud rappers and they have like you know, like you could tell the beat's like carrying the song, you know what I mean? Like the beat is what's carrying it. But like you also just have like, you're able to like take a beat, make it into a better, like you're able to flow with it, you know what I mean? It's like that weird, like it's kind of like a dance, but like you're able to do it well.
I feel like in comedy there's elements of that though too.
Oh, for sure.
And I feel like the same elements that I pull out kind of like in freestyling, I feel like you kind of pull those elements out in comedy very well, where it's like your own personality is like I feel like that's something everybody like notice about you. Like when you was at the party, it's just like when you're around, they just feel like damn, like that, like he's funny, bro. Like just on some regular shit. Like you're not even trying to do like a bit or no shit. Like you just a funny person, bro. Like
I appreciate it. I was gonna say, I think somebody said the same thing about you, and I'll even say the same thing about you. Like you're funny. You are a comedian. You're just someone who hasn't done comedy yet.
It's true. I haven't done. I mean, I'm thinking about maybe like trying to
just
do it for fun. Just I feel like maybe it'll be fun.
Dude,
you know?
I teach comedy, by the way, like for free and whatever. Like I have like a few friends who like during the pandemic, for similar reasons as to why I'm drawn to it, they were like, yo, Ariel, I've gone through some shit that I can't write into a song yet, but I'd love to turn it into a bit. Because, like, comedy is one of the few art forms. Well, let me phrase that. I'm around a lot of poets. And one thing about spoken word poetry that I've noticed is people leave spoken word art not necessarily feeling good. They just maybe leave going like, okay. Or they may be like, yeah, man, fuck the world. But comedy, you might leave that shit happy. And I have a lot of friends that like had some trauma in their life that they want to turn funny because they want to talk about it, and they want to make people happy when they talk about it. Because like that's what draws me into comedy is like there's certain things that like are taboo to talk about in society. Like I think Amy Schumer talked about this, and she's not like my favorite comedian, but I think she, you know, I respect her. She talks about how like, you know, you can't be a woman and be like emotional. Like nobody likes that shit, whatever. But when you're on stage, people love that shit. Like when you're on stage, people pay you to see that shit. Like Chris Rock, angry black man, fuck yeah, I'll get tickets. I want to hear what this guy's angry about. Like any sort of thing that society, like any sort of box that society puts you in, you can't do that with comedians. Like you can't put them in a box. You can't, you know, like tell them, oh yeah, you can't talk about this. Like, why not?
Like there's a sense that could be freeing to it.
Yeah.
That you may not like feel like in expressing yourself in that way. That's true.
Yeah.
Because you get to look at it in a way like a lot of serious topics in a more like a like, you know, in a relief way, I guess. You know what I mean?
On that tip, you mentioned like being able to like help, like you help certain folks kind of laugh off trauma in a certain sense, right? And like I know that I found myself being like a type of person that when I'm in a situation that like feels just like a little bit too, I don't know, like intense on something, like I just end up laughing because I can't.
Same.
I don't know if that I don't know if it's like a coping mechanism.
The shirt, he looks real.
Good shirt. That really is a good shirt.
Literally, I was just saying that, like you have someone in your shirt, like.
But like on that wave, like I feel like sometimes, like I'll laugh in a situation that might be deemed as like, why are you laughing right now? But it's like, I don't know. I don't know if it's like a weird coping mechanism that I've just like had ingrained at some point. But I was kind of curious on like, just like your thoughts on that.
You know, well, first of all, I don't like the stereotype that like people, like every comedian like came from like a horrible like home life and they all had like abusive childhood. Because I know a lot of people that came from like, you know, messed up home environments and they are not funny. Like these people are not funny. Like they wasted their trauma. No, I'm kidding. Like,
no, I know what you mean though.
Like it's just like the thing is just that like people just want to express themselves. I notice this as I get older. Like people just like there's so much shit that we all go through. I have this thing. There's this idea. It's called Sonder. It's like the realization that everybody's life is just as vivid as your own. I low-key struggle with that because I'm in my head all the time. I don't know.
Wow, is it like the definition in that word?
Yeah, Sonder. It's the realization that everybody else's life is just as vivid and like creative and just as like it's just everybody is living their own life. Like that's a weird thing.
I never knew that because there's an artist, there's a group named that, and I've heard of them. Yeah, nice. I didn't know what that meant though.
Yo, send me some.
That's really sick. Thanks for you put that together for me.
But it's like the thing of just like, dude, like we're like I'm 27, right? I have a lot of friends. Like one of my homegirls, she was telling me about how like I got cancer. How do I make that funny? I'm like, yo, take Notaro. She had a whole special about that shit, and she killed it. Watch her special, and then I'll help you out. My other friend, she went through an abusive relationship and had a 5150 called on her. Ended up in a mental institution for like a month. And she was like, yo, how can I make that funny? I'm like, word, I got you. I can't think of any comedians, but I know a lot of friends who've gone through that, who are comedians. Let's talk about that. And then my other friend, you know, she just came up in an abusive environment. And she's like, how can I turn this funny? And it's just a yearning to just be heard. Like, and that's what it is at the end of the day. And I'm happy to help anybody feel heard because I know that's what we're all after. We just want that. We just want to be heard, man. Like, it's not unusual. You know what I mean? We just want to be heard. People are going through some stuff and they feel like they're alone. I've been to open mics where I had a homegirl, you know, she, it was at this mic over in Lamart Park. She was talking about like just her situation and what she's been through. And after the mic, so many women came up to her and was like, yo, thank you. Like, I didn't think I could talk about this shit. But like the way you went up there and just spoke about it, like just openly, and how like you went through that shit and how you know, you're a survivor. Like, and, you know, it was real. Like people, your art affects people, man. Like if you're saying some stuff that people can relate to, they just fuck with you. Like they just love it. Like, and I think that's important to realize because, you know, we're all in this together, for better or worse. We're all here, you know what I mean? And the last thing you'd want is to alienate people, which is, I know what that feels like. I don't ever want to do that to people. So I just want to make sure that with art, you're bringing people in, you know? And that's, I don't know, comedy does that, but so many other art forms do that. I just want people to feel heard. That's it.
But I think what you said is deep because if you will, like on the tip of people feeling heard is like, and what you were saying, like I feel like in moments of like crisis and stuff like that, like it's almost like I like say like as a mechanism.
Yeah.
People sometimes laugh as like a way to feel heard. Yeah. Like in like moments of like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like that's their reaction in that moment to be like, you know what I'm saying? It's like if something's really fucking going on, it's like their way to be like, damn, some shit's really fucking going on right now. So just like to kind of laugh at it. You know what I'm saying?
Tiffany Haddish had that, actually. I was listening to a Tiffany Haddish podcast, and she talked about how like she grew up in like foster care, experienced a bunch of abuse, and she talked about how like the place she felt the most safest was on the stage, because you can't do anything wrong to me. Well, like you could heckle me, I could take that. Like that's
and I feel that. I definitely feel that. It's like being like, you know, when you meet someone that's like with a bad attitude with like kindness or like a joke, like that shit really do work. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like if I say some funny shit like to somebody when they're trying to be like irate, like it's like they're not really gonna continually be alright. I'm talking about Mickey Mouse or it's completely like shit that is really like not mean at all. Like they're gonna be like, I can't keep being mean. Like
you know? You gotta negate those vibes. You know what I mean?
Like that shit is true in some sense. I get that.
But how about from the opposite side of like the, not like as the performer, but as like the audience member? Yeah. As like responding to it. Do you still see the laugh as like an intentional reaction to be heard?
Yeah, easily. Cause you know, at the end of the day, like you just want. So again, I'll compare it to spoken word poetry. That's like the main art form that I hang around a lot of poets. I go to a lot of comedy scenes, but I hang around a lot of poets. And with poetry, you don't need an audience for that. You can kind of just go up there, say your piece, and then bounce. You don't need an audience for that. You like poetry to me is just venting. You could just vent and go up there and say some stuff. You know, you phrase it in a good way, like, you know, how to cure depression, you know, add 1 cup of joy, 2 cup, you know, I see a lot of poems who do that, like they make like a recipe. Anyways, but with comedy, you need an audience for that. You can't do comedy by yourself. And the laughter that comes from that, it's sort of like, you know, you could tell the difference between a good laugh and a bad laugh, but you could also tell the difference between a good joke and a bad joke. Like, you know, you kind of know your audience. At the end of the day, it's like, I think people who do comedy and like, you know, they do it and they want to be heard. I think a laughter is just another form of validation.
But not, I agree with that. I understand that, but I'm saying more so like, not from a perspective of like a performer, but from the perspective of an audience member. Like as just someone who's just like listening or like laughing at a joke or like, so you're like, you know what I mean? Is a laugh an intentional feeling to be heard in your thoughts?
That's a good question. I think a laugh is... That's a good question, actually. I'm not going to lie. That's a really good question.
Because I feel like a laugh is to me, it feels like a natural response sometimes.
It is, for sure. I don't know, because there's been plenty of times where I've laughed before, and I can tell the comedian was like, "Oh, I wasn't joking," and I was like, "Oh."
That's what I'm saying. Going off of what you said when what you were addressing a second ago, like I think there is getting bad. Like but within that, I think that's why. Like I don't think it's necessarily like it is natural, but I feel like there's like you said. I think that's all it is. That there's just like where it doesn't get perceived that way all the time. Like I don't think it always doesn't get perceived as a natural reaction, because right there the comedian can be like, that wasn't even the funny part. Oh yeah. Or on the vice versa, from the flip of where it's like, that wasn't even funny to laugh at. Like as audience being like, what?
I've had that. But that's what I'm cutting into it is like, is that moment just a natural reaction, or do you see it as like them doing it intentionally as a sense of like to be heard?
You mean the comedian?
No, not the comedian. The audience member.
I think I've been that audience member. I remember there was a show I went to, and the girl talked about her dead mom, and I just started laughing, and she literally said, "Oh, that wasn't a joke." And I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry."
Yeah, but it's like you could have not been laughing about it that way, though. Yeah. You could have been laughing about it because you related in that way, and you were just trying to deflect. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I don't know every time. I feel like it's just like I don't know how I would look at it every time.
But I'm saying, is the laugh an intentional thing? You're not laughing to please the person, right? That's my point with it. Is that you're not laughing like with that other intent of other than like a natural reaction of being like, of being like, oh, that was funny, and to you, in whatever sense that was funny to you.
Well, I will say this though, there are audiences that you like. I have friends, like one of my homies, Maddie. What is it? I think you met her. She did a cover of like that song. What's it called? I forgot the name of the artist. Like. Anyways, Not Over Here. Remember that song? She did the cover of it.
Oh yeah, I saw this.
She's a great audience. I love Maddie. Like, shout out Maddie.
Yeah, right. She
Maddie MP3.
She right before me.
Yeah. So like, Maddie, she's a great audience member because she'll laugh at everything and she has a good laugh. And I'm like, okay, cool. If she's in my audience, I know I'm gonna do good because her laugh is contagious. Without her in my audience, then I'm like, all right, cool. I could still survive, but it's like. I think I know what you mean in the sense of like, are you laughing like intentionally?
I don't think nobody really plans to laugh. Yeah, and that tip, nah.
Yeah,
I think they just laugh. Like,
yeah.
I think it's just like, oh, something funny's happening on stage. Like it's just like.
But I think that's still like it still comes across whatever way it comes across.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't think as them themselves. Nah, like I think a laugh is usually probably the most genuine fucking reaction you got in the book.
Oh yeah.
You just do it like on some like you look, your face start looking dumb when you laugh. You don't even know how you look because you just do it like you're just like like.
It's true though. It's true.
You know, like mouth is all open.
I mean, like you guys have this with rap though. So you guys have to have audience feedback though. Like you want people to like be like, yeah, like you want this with your like you want audience reactions to your shit. You want to feel like, oh, my shit is hitting. You know what I mean? Like you had, like even just that noise, like even like when people like when you were freestyling on Wednesday, people were like, you know what I mean? They felt it.
Nah, that was cool. I definitely was like, I've been like, I guess maybe I just had good like hearing that day or something, but like I just was like, I was able to hear like a couple different moments of just little tiny moments of like that just make you feel good. Cause usually, I guess I don't know if you feel this like in performances. I try to look, but I feel like I get nervous. So sometimes I'm just like, all right, fake looking. Like I just like want to just look out into the crowd, but like, you know what I mean? Like if I'm really looking around, like I feel like I just get too nervous. So I'm just kind of like focused on what I'm like doing.
I have that, yeah. Most comedy clubs are dark lit though. Like most comedy spots, for some reason, they're very dark.
Right.
Like so, it's just like you don't really see the audience.
That's what I mean. I couldn't really see too many people. Yeah. I could just hear like a little bit of like, oh, all right. Like, and I was just like, okay, yes, that's dope. But like, I see what you mean. I haven't had that happen in a while, but that was one of those cool times of like those little moments make you like want to keep going and shit like that.
It was hitting, you know.
I think when music is really loud, I can't really hear that shit. That's why.
I agree. I know that happened at, weren't you at Smoking Grooves? I heard that happened there. Like the audio was pretty bad.
It was alright. I mean, I feel like it depends where you was at. Like we was on our really like go to the front every stage type shit this time because we had enough. We're like, nah, bruh. We took a stand.
Yeah, I feel like it wasn't.
We were in good spots the whole time, bro.
Yeah, we had some nice.
I was thinking about it like for a second, like trying to think if I did hear the audio, I messed up at all. But then I was like, damn, I think it was because I was in like decent spots. Except Music Soul Child is the only one that I was like in the kind of middle-ish. Yeah, middle of the sea.
I was low-key hoping you'd run into my friend Sun Lu over there because he was out there and he was like, the guy was just like, you know.
Oh,
like,
we were talking about it.
Yeah.
Man, that would have been a vibe, bro.
Wouldn't that have been cool? Yo, because you know what's crazy? He was telling me how like, yo, I met a guy out there and, you know, he was just so cool. And he was like, yo, if we meet again, man, that means it was meant to be. You know, we're meant to be friends. And he was like, oh, word. He never saw that guy ever again.
I
was hoping that would have been you. I was hoping that would have been like so.
I was easy to recognize, too. I had a coat on.
Damn, that sounds kind of lit.
It was funny. I had like a sports coat on, and it started raining. So then all of a sudden I was the G. Then,
hey,
you know what I mean? Because it was raining.
Get prepared.
Yeah, I knew it was gonna be kind of weird weather.
You're smart.
But man, so would you ever do a comedy? I have a quick on the festival tip. Would you ever do a set at a festival? Because I've seen that before.
I need to go to a festival and see what that looks like. Because I know, like,
I've seen Hannibal Buress do it.
See, that's why. I know Hannibal Buress does shit like that. I know Eric Andre, like, he hosted Beach Goth, so he had to do shit like that. I know there's the Adult Swim Festival where they get comics and shit. I need to see what that looks like, because that just sounds insane. Like, that's not the, like, you know, okay, thing. I know, like, vibe. Chris Rock used to open for Public Enemy. That's why Chris Rock is very, like, fast with his jokes, because he would be like, yo, you know, like, I'm doing comedy, and then you guys are going to listen to Public Enemy. Like, so, you know, I'd have to see what that looks like, man. Because I don't know. That just sounds insane.
That'd be crazy, like a set though. Like you have a name for the set too. Like I can see that shit being like really like pulling up to that. Like, oh damn, that was crazy. Like I was geeked.
I feel like it'd be sick. It'd be dope to see you.
I'd have to see it. I'd have to see it. I want to see Hannibal Buress.
I walked up there, saw him telling a few funny jokes, man. It was cool. It was at FYF. It was like in 2017.
Whoa.
And it was like, and he had like a good amount of people just there posted, chilling.
See, that sounds nice.
Like it was like in a good stage. It was at night. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you definitely have to be like, you can't be a no-name comic doing that shit. You have to be like an actual like recognized. You'd have to have been on like some television show, just so you could be like, yo, y'all love him on Parks and Rec.
On Outside Lands, they had like a stage dedicated to like where it was like, how do you say, like other stuff. So people like that, so it could be under acts because they had like cooks and chefs and shit too.
So, okay, here's the thing. Okay, if it was a thing like that, I would love that. Actually, I would do that, no problem. Because in my head, I'm like, one, I get to go to a festival for free, and no one's even gonna see my shit because like Ty Dolla $ign is over there.
Exactly.
So like, let me just get it for free.
You're not on the main stage in the cut, like Coachella. Coachella has shit like that.
Yeah, no, like I'm like, dude, I'll gladly do that shit. Like, yo, let me get a free pass. Let me get some for my friends. You know, hey, y'all want to go to Coachella? I'm performing. You don't even have to go to that. I wouldn't even tell my friends to show up to that either. I was like, yo, I got like 20 minutes on the stage, and then we can go do some Molly. What do you say, guys? Like,
that'd be crazy. I know. And then all you gotta do is fucking Justin Joseph fools drinking Heineken in like the corner somewhere. like
that would be lit. Like that would be lit. Just give me a small set at like a giant like festival. Nobody's gonna see my shit. Nobody's gonna even know who I am. Yeah, I'm all about. Oh fuck yeah! I wouldn't even be nervous for that shit because no one would even know I'm even there. They would just be like, yo, what's that? Who's that shitty beat making in the background?
Remember the Roots were at the Heineken tent, bro, that first week? We didn't go that week. Remember, like, because we went week 2. But it was like at the Heineken tent, the Roots were there, bro.
Wow.
And it was just like, the fuck? Like, that would be crazy. Like, that was just not even a stage. It was just a tent somewhere.
I went to this one thing that Shia LaBeouf hosted. Like one of the best like shows I've ever been to was this thing called The Sacred Spectacle, where Shia LaBeouf, literally picture a warehouse floor, maybe the same size as like your backyard, maybe like a bit bigger because it's a fucking warehouse floor. No stage. They just had like rope, like in a corner of the room, being like, okay, this is where the artist is gonna perform. Bro, Baby Keem was there, Jaden Smith was there, Vic Mensa was there, and I can't stress this enough. Shia LaBeouf was just walking around drunk as fuck. It was an open bar. And he was just walking around, and he was like, midway through the show, he was like, yo, David Blaine's somewhere in the audience. Just look out for, mind you, it's again, you could see everybody. You could see the end of the room. So it's not like you could see. And I'm like, wait a minute. There he is, David Blaine. And
I see some motherfuckers.
Yo, it was so cool, man. Like, David Blaine was just doing magic. Jaden Smith was in the back, and then Shia LaBeouf, as close as I am to you, man, he was just drunk as fuck. It was like, that was probably the best like show I've ever been to, just because it was so intimate. Yeah. Good times. Secret Spectacle.
What was the funniest joke you've ever heard at a random funny spot, like right now?
Okay, you know, I'll tell you one. This is one of the first jokes. So the first place I ever did comedy at was Flappers Comedy Club in Burbank.
Okay, heard of that.
And there was this white guy who went up there, and he was like, y'all, let's talk about stereotypes. My favorite stereotype is Toshiba.
That's crazy.
That joke just threw me for a loop. I was like, all right, oh shit, that's so good. I don't know. I hate that joke is so good. It's such a dad joke, but I love that shit. That's probably the best joke I ever heard. It was just so clean and simple. I was like, oh shit, that's it. Yeah, I liked it.
What were you about to say though? I feel like I cut you off.
Shit. Oh no. I think I was gonna ask. I think we were gonna talk about like you were talking about like the separation of having like the crowd.
Yeah.
Being like so, because I feel like in like a rapper or not rapper, like in a music.
Yeah.
Not because like when you're putting on performance, like it's less of that intimate sense. You know what I mean? Like as much as it even was like that one, like I'm really curious as to how that one went down. Because I said rapper because I was thinking about what you're saying with like Vic Mensa, Jaden, and Baby Keem. Like how was the sound and how was that feel and that? It was like
great. It was dope because it was like, you know what it was? 'Cause again, I want to make it very clear. You're eye level to these people.
Yeah.
Jaden Smith is not tall. You are eye level to these motherfuckers. The only difference separating you is you and a rope. And maybe for Jaden Smith, you can tell he's in the room because there was like 50 security guards.
At Flappers?
No, this wasn't at Flappers. No, this was at the Sacred Spectacle event.
My bad.
But like for like the audience in terms of like intimacy and shit like that, have you seen Gerard Carmichael's recent stand-up special, Nathaniel?
I need to finish it though. I haven't seen it all.
Okay, in that stand-up special, there's a lot of audience participation in that. Like it's literally him just talking about how like, you know, I don't want to spoil what the content matter is.
Spoiler alert.
I'm not.
We've never done that. That's what this is
like, but in there you have audiences asking him questions, just being like, "How come you don't talk to your family more?" Whoa, guys! Like, I'm the comedian. You know, you don't ask me this shit. Like, but like, he's really like, they're really just asking him shit. Like in between his sets, like they left it up there and everything, and it made the show so much better because you feel so much closer to the audience. Like, I don't mind that in terms of like if the people have comedic timing. Like I do that sometimes where like I'll say a bit and I got my friend Phil, he'll be like, he ain't lying, and then, you know, just I don't know, it makes the joke just hit harder. But like, you know, like I think the audience, when it comes to comedy or like other shit, like you want an intimate show. Like all the best shows that I've been to, like, okay, it's gonna sound messed up, I don't like going to festivals and seeing artists. Like, I'd rather just see them on their own, like a small room. Like, yeah. Like literally a better example of this is Kevin Hart's special. He sold out a fucking football stadium, and like I forgot, I don't know, I think it's in Philadelphia. I don't know which stadium. Sold out a stadium and did comedy there, and it's probably his worst stand-up special ever because it's too big. Like it's not a way you want to digest comedy. It's not personal. It's not personal at all. However, the stand-up special he released afterwards during quarantine was in his house, in his basement club, because I'm sure his house is ginormous. He has like maybe like 20 or 30 people, and they're like, yo, let me do a comedy special. Y'all want some pizza? I got pizza, you know, like, and that's like his best. I don't know if it's his best, but it's definitely his most intimate special. And I'm like, that's how art should be consumed. Like even like music. Actually, there's a place y'all should come to if you're free sometime next month called the Fox Den, where my friend Jessica puts on like in her apartment, she just has artists and they just like do music in her acoustically. Like, you know, she's like, I got neighbors, but she's like, just come to my house and just, you know, play a few songs. And she has like 4 people on the lineup, and then it just becomes a hangout.
Sick.
Yeah, like actually y'all should do that. Actually, y'all should have like Rattler or like fucking Jack or somebody else come through.
I'm down, bro.
Yeah,
that'd be crazy. Cool.
But yeah, I don't know if that answered your question though. It probably didn't.
I think it answered it perfectly, because I was gonna ask him to like how, because that intimate sense with the audience, like I feel like that's so important in stand up that I could see why, like going on like a bigger stage and going on to that point, like you were saying, we were talking about like the festival, and like even then I could see why I'd be less inclined, but also the lit side of fucking getting a free artist pass and then getting to fucking enjoy the festival like to its fullest.
No, I remember I said this thing on like the 20 minute thing we were doing. You know, again, the party you had last Saturday was amazing. That shit was so lit.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, shout out Mauricio. Shout out that party. I remember I said some shit where it was like art is easy, but being famous is not. Like, you ever see an artist on a big stage and you're like, oh, this is not good, like, to see you here, but I respect that you're famous enough to get up on the stage. And I think about that shit, like, again, when I was like watching Kevin Hart's special, I'm like, hey, you sold out a fucking football stadium. Congratulations, bro. Worst set ever. But I just think about how, like, again, like, it's not hard to be a comedian. I don't think it's hard to be a rapper. It's not hard to do that, but it's hard to get to that level. It's hard to be famous. And that's the shit that like really weirds me out, because I have so many friends that are like legitimately talented, like you guys, and I have no doubt you guys will make it. I just know the road's gonna be fucking awful. Same thing with comedy, same thing with any other shit. Yeah. And it's like a weird thing where it's just like, man, like, why does it have to be so hard? Like, can't you just recognize the talent? But then it's like, oh no, you got to get your name out there as much as possible. And like that's the part of like art that I suck at, is just like putting myself out there. Like, I have friends who like started TikToks and they blew up, and they're like, okay, now I'm able to tour. And I'm like, what? Off of TikTok? Like, is your audience like, are 12-year-olds even allowed in the club? They're like, no, everyone's on TikTok now, and I have to do that.
I definitely relate to that. It's like that shit is hard to like get into, but I see it so much now. It's like that's like a part of everybody's like shit. It's like is like the reels.
It's the ecosystem.
It's like learn how to post like all the different like, you know what I'm saying, like avenues to this shit that like get people like reposting it and clicking it and like, and that shit is interesting because like I don't know, I feel like you're saying like it's kind of like I'm decent at like the in-person part about it.
Same.
Like I feel like feel me, like in 90 like in like the 2000s I'll be rocking
Same.
Cause I really like I like talking to people, but I think the idea of marketing yourself like rigorously through like those means is like interesting. How that's like kind of like.
Dude, did you watch Logic posted a recent video where he flew a guy out from Minnesota to perform at a festival with him because he did an open verse challenge on TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah, this dude from Minnesota, you know, like redhead, like he just came up there. I was like, yo, he killed it. Logic was like, yo, I'm doing a show in Orlando. Like, come through. Like, you know, I'll fly you out. And he did. And he hung out with Logic. I'm like, just off of doing a really good open verse challenge. Like, that shit's kind of bridging. Like, I like that. I like when like Russ did that. He did an open verse challenge. Some girl killed it and was like, yo, be on the remix.
Yeah, I saw Yo Gotti did that too.
Yeah.
A couple artists have been doing
I love that. Like, that's actually, I love that 100%. You know?
It's crazy, man.
Yeah. Like it's just so much easier to just bridge. It's weird. Like, it's easier to bridge the gap nowadays, but it's also like if you're trying to make it, I think there's definitely more avenues to doing shit. You know what I mean? I just think it's also because now there's so much content, it's just harder. But it's like harder, but it's harder to get noticed, but it's also like easy at the same time. I don't know. All you need is just one clip to go viral. You know, like, and that's it. And then you could do it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you guys think about that?
No,
like,
yeah. I mean, that's what a lot of different people have said. Is these like in their experience on TikTok, they're like, I've started to go viral, or like I've put little posts and they've gone just a little viral. You know?
Wow.
So it's a common thing, like that thing that's going on for sure. In that.
And low key, I mean, I feel like I don't want to be like the type that's like, well, we had this before, like that kind of like one, but I will say that one thing that we really wanted, we've been working on this album.
Can't wait for it.
That's gonna be a freestyle album.
Yes.
But part of it that we wanted to incorporate was the fact of like, one part of it is being like just the album itself, and then the other part will be like the instrumental version, but the instrumental version will be like for others to jump on and like them to freestyle onto it.
Yes.
And like we wanted to like host like a show where there's like Wes and like even other folks will be like freestyling new stuff like over it and like making, you know, new iterations over.
That's actually I've been to a lot of mics. I've never been to anything like that. Like, that's actually a really good idea. Like, y'all should hop on that.
That would be really fire, taking the freestyle shit to the next level and like freestyling live and then doing a live album.
No, you know the crazy. I was talking to Zam about this. Like, they have this thing called. You ever heard of live band karaoke? Basically, it's this thing where you have a whole band behind you, and the band knows like they know the hits. Yeah. So you're on a stage and everything, and you basically, you know, they pick your name out of a raffle and say, okay, here you go. You know, up next, you know, Zam, go up there. And she'll be like, oh, can you play, what's that one song that everybody plays? You know, like, Just a Small Town Girl, play that shit. And then you got a whole audience because you're on a stage.
Damn, she would kill that shit.
I actually told her about it. I was like, yo, Zam, you got to come to this shit. Yeah, you guys should come to that thing too. Like, it's literally karaoke, but with a live band, and you're on a stage.
That's it.
And everybody's there because they want to do it, but they're gonna fuck with you because you're on a stage. You know what I mean? You want to feel like a rock star. Go to that. It's amazing. It is amazing.
I'm like, give me the beat to hate or love it. Just start freestyling.
That'd be lit. No, and you guys should also check out again Soulful of Noise. Shout out Soulful of Noise, because like that one is just like you got a live band, but they'll actually you'll play your beat. And the band, like, some of them toured with fucking Doja Cat. They have good people in their band. They'll just fucking play it by ear and be like, okay, this is how we need to, like, let me
That's
add a
the one
drum
I
thing.
really want to get in. I know it's probably going to be like a lot of people.
It's long as, that mic is so long and it's so packed, yes.
But, like, I feel like it's on some pay or do shit. You just got to go one day and, like, and just so stand it.
But everyone is super nice. It's at a soul food restaurant. Like, so they got
That's
good
what
food.
I'm saying. They got, that sounds, imagine just going, go get some food.
Good.
But when you go up, though, I bet though, I probably got to come with the sauce.
Oh, no, dude, okay, I've seen that.
I have to come with the super sauce. I feel like it's, like I said, it's probably like Showtime at the Apollo. Like, they'll probably sweep me out of there, bro.
I mean, honestly, no, they had a guy once who was up there, And he was like, yo, here's my, here's like my flash drive, just play my shit, They played it. Audience started doing backing, like tracks to it, playing their guitars, like the drums and shit. And the guy was like, yo, wait, hold on, guys. Like, I can't rap with you guys being too loud. And the host was like, hey, look, man, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like, this band's expensive, and we pay them. You gotta use them, man. I'm sorry, you gotta go up there. Like, as nicely as they could say it, they were like, we're not getting rid of this band. Like, I'm sorry, bro.
That would be dumb, bro. That's
crazy.
So funny.
It was so bad. And like the guy ended up just like walking off stage. He's just like, okay. And he just got off. And he was pissed. And I was like, bro, just adapt. Like, you could be Kendrick right now. What are you doing?
Yeah, we're gonna do something interesting like that tonight.
Yo,
at a show, we're gonna perform in Pasadena, and we have the homie Ruben. You met him. He played like guitar and bass on the end of one of our songs, Princess Peach.
Oh, okay, nice.
And he was here at the party.
I'm sure if you tell me what he looks like, I'll remember.
He's in Point Doom though. He's like his man. He's like sure, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what's done, but the homie what's it called? We were asking him if he wanted to take out the guitar or bass, and he just played that live. And he was saying, nah, keep them in, and then I'm going to just play like some new shit over that part.
That sounds amazing.
And I'm saying, that's kind of like what they could have. They had the opportunity to sauce up right there. Like, you know what I mean? Where it's like, you could have write the beat rock, and they were down to play some new sauce shit over with the beat. Like,
And I can't believe they said no, and they were like,
no, the guy just walked. I was so angry. But the best part was, it was like, okay, again, like, it's open mic, keep it moving. After him, there was this girl who wasn't a rapper, she just did poetry. And I was telling Wes about this. This girl went up there, started doing some poetry, and like poetry is usually they have like iambic pentameter. They have a beat to them. The musicians, the band, they could pick up on that. Started playing it as she was like speaking her poetry. It was on some no name shit. Like she was speaking some real shit with like some like drums, some bass to it, and it was like just so smooth. It felt like I was like at like a really like chill concert, cause just saying some real shit, and I was like, "Oh, this is amazing, man! Like, man, fuck the other guy. This is good. This is so
crazy.
good.
That's
Yeah,
dope.
no, I'm telling you, man, you got to check out Soul Full of Noise. It happens like once a month. It's so bad. It happens once a month, but it's also 4 hours long, which is too long. But fuck it. I thought it was, again, a good soul food restaurant. Gotta love the representation there. Again, it's just a vibe. It's just a really good place.
how'd you get to know and get to the Palms Up Academy? Since you're thinking about the open mic and all that.
So I was doing comedy, and spoiler alert, comedy venues are horrible. Comedy, like, I had this thing where it was like I wanted to be heard, and I actually wanted to like make friends with people. Comedians just dip. Like, okay, I did my set, I'm out. Like, they don't hang out with people. Like, they really don't. Like, it's actually kind of the only way you make friends in like the comedy scene is if you just see enough people at the same places, and you're like, oh, hey, I see you around here all the time. You're funny, and then you just keep going to those same places. Like, I'm a regular at a few spots, so I'm friends with some of the people there. But I did comedy for about 8 months, and then I quit. And I was like, my soul isn't being fed through this art. Like, I come here. Also, it's just a lot of mean people. And I was like, I got to do poetry. I got to do poetry. Something about it I yearned to I just need to hear people. I just want to see people be vulnerable. So I went to this place, called the Poetry Lounge, and it was cool, but I didn't like it. And at that time, I went to a party. There was this guy, I don't know his name, I just called him Gatsby. Lived in a West Hollywood studio, had a party every Saturday. If you know the address, you know the address. Open invite. You can just go to his house. I was at this guy's house every Saturday for like 3 months. There, I met this dude named Soul Stuff, who I don't know if you guys met. This dude named Soul Stuff, he told me that he did poetry. He was only there for like half an hour because he was like, oh, I just want to see what this place is like because I know the address. I met him, and he told me he does poetry, and I was like, bro, tell me where to go. Give me the spots, please. And he was like, oh, man, man, you just missed it. A really good spot, there's a really good spot that just closed down, man. You would have loved it. It was called Our Mic. And I was like, damn. And then a month later, on his Facebook, he said, yo, I'm hosting an open mic at my house. Come through. If anybody wants to come, just, comment on this post. I commented, went over to his house, and it was a vibe. I've never been to anything like it. Like, it was actually like people were just talking. And you know how Lady B did that B-sides thing? He was doing that. He was like, yo, I want people to get up there and like try this exercise, man. Like, do this thing. Maybe it'll make maybe it'll make people feel something. It did, and it was amazing. I've never been to a mic that was like that before. And then like 2 months later, he was like, "Yo, Ariel, remember that mic I told you about that you just missed?" I'm like, "Nah." He was like, "Well, man, it's happening again. come through. Like, you want to see where superheroes are made, come to this mic. And at the time, it was in Filipino Town. And yeah, I went there, and sure enough, like, that's how I discovered Palms Up. Was like my friend Soul Stuff brought me there. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I was a horrible person when I started going to that mic, because I was just not in a good headspace. But I kept going enough times, and I started making friends with some of the people there. I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. And now I kind of just tell everybody about it, because I've never been to an open mic that's like that. Like, even now, like, there's a few mics that are comparable to it, but that to me always will be like, this is the spot that like started it all, because like that was what opened my eyes to what open mics could be. Because again, I'm used to comedy open mics where people are like, oh, I did my 10 minutes, yo, deuces, I'm out. This mic, people actually, we go to a bar afterwards, we all drink, we say some vulnerable shit on stage, and then we break bread. Like, they fucking, like, the mic started, it restarted around like Thanksgiving, and they were like, hey guys, we're doing a Thanksgiving thing, and somebody actually made a turkey, like, you know Kookie, like the older woman with like the dreads and like the purple hair, like, she fucking made like tuna casserole and like a turkey for people, and she was like, yo, if you guys want to bring some food, bring some food. I brought some pizza, and we actually had a little potluck Thanksgiving, like, you know, around Thanksgiving, just to be like, hey guys, I appreciate you guys. And I was like, holy shit, this mic is cool. And yeah, so that's kind of how I discovered it. Shout out Soul Stuff, you know, he's the best. But yeah, just from that's how I discovered Palms Up, and now I try to get everybody to show up. Like, you know, I'm glad that you guys were able to come, honestly, like, before you know, go to Europe.
Got you. Only got 5 from a minute to 45. Do you want to hit the affirmation?
Yeah, let's get on.
You got any questions for them or not?
No, I feel like we're definitely gonna need to do a part 2. Like, you're definitely gonna have to come back for the second season so we can.
I'm down.
Do a full dive, because I feel like there's so much we haven't dived into.
I want to do a second season, but I also just want a podcast of just you just talking about your trip in Europe. Like, you know, man. I just want to hear that, bro. Like, I've
definitely
done
do that when you get back for sure. I guess. Like,
yeah.
Because you'll have to like recap us on all the.
Yeah, no, dude. Because like I backpacked around Asia for 2 months, and that's the time like I solo traveled. I did that shit for 2 months, and I learned so much about myself. I love that you're doing that shit.
I'll interview you like Narwhal, G.
Yeah.
And I'll just like bust out random things like you didn't know I knew from the trip. I'll be like, do you remember this? You'll be like, damn, actually, that was in Rome.
That's funny. Yeah. But hell yeah, no, definitely do that. I guess we can kind of transition into life affirmations with that, because mine kind of lies in with that. I've recently made some quick decision changes to. We'll go to Europe instead of New York immediately, and then we'll go to New York afterwards if everything works out well. But it's just been like a change of mindset into like what I wanted to do and where I wanted to be at the time. And like the whole time with being in New York was always just like wherever it felt right at the moment to be. And you're like out of the country in general just felt, or like I needed like a new change of pace. I felt like
I agree. And
like New York, don't get me wrong, it is a change of pace, but it's a change of pace that like I'm a little bit more known to and comfortable with. So it's not really like a full change for me. Whereas like going to Europe, to a place that like I haven't been before at all, getting to explore all these different cultures and different things there, I think it's going to be like really exciting, and I'm really eager for it. I've been fucking stressed, like trying to make sure all the podcast shit is done, so like, you know, by the time, you know, everything is all set to go. But once I get out there, I think it'll be time to just kind of fucking really enjoy them.
I think it's gonna do wonders for you. You're gonna come back a different man. I see it. You're gonna come back like more spiritual. You're gonna be like, yo, man, you ever had Amsterdam weed? I can't go back. You know how people have California weed and they can't go back to anything else? You're gonna do that with Amsterdam, like, yo, man, I can't go back. You know, I can get the shit weed out of me, man.
Damn. I just thought of something crazy. What if one of the YouTube videos doesn't go through?
Well, I'm making sure all of the stuff right now is like loaded up.
No, like, you know how like sometimes when it's scheduled and like that shit like tweak? Like what if it tweak on the load up?
If it tweak on the load up, it's just gonna have to be.
It's just tweaked, huh?
Well, if worst comes to worst, I'm gonna just FaceTime and have like someone like just go on my computer and
just redo it. Because it's not only a button on the, like, if that happens, like you just press redo. Yeah. Right. But like I was just thinking, I didn't even think of that. I was like, holy shit, because the other ones don't tweak really like on the like when you schedule them. Mm-hmm. the pod.
It's more so like
it's YouTube, right?
Well, YouTube itself is chilling. It's more so like Premiere is what's giving me like kind of tweaking and fucking up shit.
That's the editing software, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I've heard
Got you.
Like that's the one that really kind of gives me every kind of shenanigan every now and then. I just had to like clear a whole fuck ton of space on my computer. I had to basically, for the most part, delete Logic because it has just so many like instruments and shit in it that like to make space.
It's so goofy. Like to do anything in my if I once I get a new computer, I have to delete Ableton pretty much, bro.
Wow.
Like until I get a new computer, really, or unless I like really find a way to move everything off. But like it's looking like that's the thing that has the most shit. That like that's the most movable thing off. Like if I move that off, I can do anything.
I feel you.
Oh.
But yeah, so life affirmations, you know what I'm saying, is a part of this podcast where we get into one thing that we look at differently in the past week or a month or 2 weeks. Or or a year.
Can you give me an
it's any amount of
example?
time. So the way it is, this example is like I used to look at it this way, and then now I look at it this way. Like that's kind of the premise. So you could say like anything really in that realm that you used to look at one way, and now you don't look at it that way anymore. Like say if you used to rock shoes with laces, and then you woke up on like one cold Thursday and said fuck shoes with laces. Like I'm tired of tying my shoes. You know what I'm saying?
I'm trying to think.
But it doesn't have to be nothing too big.
That's such a good question though. I'm like, I don't. Oh man, like I'm always down to learn, but I feel like looked at something different.
I can go. Usually this is how we do it. I go and then he go and then give you some time to think and shit.
Give me some time to think about it. I'm on the spot right now.
I think for me, I feel like I've had some time to think about my life affirmations since the last ones I've done. I think I would definitely say just to keep up on my punctuality is one thing. I know like I tend to be like a punctual person, but like as of late I've had a lot of shit to do, so I've just been kind of moving like everything just like behind pace. But I think deeper than that, I think bigger one has just been kind of like giving more time to like write and like work on projects and like figures and just kind of like be still. I think I don't like in retrospect I like look at the year and I'm like damn, like in the pandemic I had like a lot more opportunity to like be still, and like I kind of reaped like the benefits of that. And then like this year I feel like I was moving a lot, which like I wrote the benefits of that, but like I didn't really get too much of like the like I don't know mental benefits of like being still and shit. I feel like certain moments like would be like clearer, like more thought through, just having, but naturally you don't have that much time to think through shit, as you once did.
I wish more people actually kind of were open about that. Like I feel like people saw the pandemic as like, oh man, like this is a time where I could pick up a new skill, better myself, read a book. But I feel like a lot of people just kind of like, yo dog, we were kind of like in a pandemic. You don't gotta chill. You could just sit at home and play video games. I feel like you don't have to like.
You could sort through a lot of bullshit that you had no time to sort through. Like,
oh no, that was the best part. That was the best part.
Exactly, like that, and I feel like I had that opportunity, but I think that now it's like in this time I'm like, damn, like I just able to see that like, damn, doing that shit is really, really important. Like that's a part of some shit we really shouldn't like lose.
I'm gonna be honest with you here, man. I think the pandemic was probably one of the best times of my life. I'm gonna just say that. It was. I have a lot of FOMO, like a lot. Like that actually is like the biggest thing that controls my life. And during the pandemic, that was like, oh,
right.
Everybody else is stuck at home too.
Just
even
like
the hot
smooth
girl.
that part over real quick. It was just
dude, I was calling. I was like, I remember I had a friend who was like, that was his whole thing. He was like, yo, girls that wouldn't give me the chance. Now I'm like talking to them because they're stuck at home too. And I was like, yo, Jesus. But I was like, that was a good time.
I think the FOMO for sure is like definitely I relate to that.
Dude, that was the best part. I didn't have to worry about looking at Coachella. Like fuck that
and
shit.
I feel like that stillness is kind of what I'm like getting back to a bit of like the idea of like where it's like I had the FOMO completely kind of under control because it was like everything was just what was in front of you, like being more present. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. My friend just put me on a book called Everyday Mindfulness for OCD. I don't know if I have OCD, but he does. And he just put me on that book, and just talking about just everyday shit you can do, just being more present, because like that's the key, just being more present.
What you, G?
Kind of like, well, on the Europe tip of
Europe. It's 47.
I know. I'm gonna squeeze in 2 more minutes.
All right.
I'm gonna do this real quick. Hopefully we can knock this out and then just say peace out real quick.
Cool.
But it is also part of the reason why I'm leaving is within that. It's like Europe and also like wanting, because I've been wanting to change. With Europe, I've been wanting to go there for a long, like, year. Most of my life, like, it's always been like, wow, it looks so cool to be like, just across the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just exploring somewhere else that sounds interesting. And like Italy in general, Spain, like those two countries are like, one, I have like distant like relatives from there, so it's like, you know, I guess on some aspect like cultural, like, you know, backing, I guess, in that aspect. But like another aspect is it just always looked like beautiful cities and just interesting culture, and I really always wanted to like like explore it, right? But I was always kind of like, damn, that sounds, it's like, it's far, I don't know, I want to go do this, like, and I was just kind of like scared and like tentative at the moment. And like another thing that I've been wanting to do for some time was wanting to change my hair color. And like I wanted to go, because I've been tentative about it, because I want to go to like silver white.
That's
like,
that's the vibe.
So I want to go to like, it's just such a stark change that I'm like, am I gonna fuck up my hair? Is it gonna look good? Like, is it even worth it? Like, but I've been scared in like certain things, and I feel like sometimes the affirmation with me has been like kind of looking at myself and be like, why am I scared of these things? Like, it's me. Like, I can do whatever the fuck I want. If I want to go somewhere by myself, I can go somewhere by myself. If I want to go change my hair color, I can go change my haircut. If I want to go do this, I can do that. Like, there's nothing stopping me other than myself. And it's just kind of like within that of like being a little bit less fearful on certain things, I guess. Yeah. And so
I love that.
Yeah.
Also, everybody I know that has silver hair looks cool.
That's what I told him. I told him that I knew a teacher with silver hair. He was pretty fly.
Right? Like, dog,
pretty fly dude.
If you're gonna get any hair color, do it like silver, man. Like, that's the wave.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if, I'll be honest with you, I don't know if I have any affirmations now. Just talking about.
You know you got one, bro.
I mean, I guess.
You stop eating milk or something?
Stop eating milk.
You know?
I mean, I don't smoke or weed or drink, but that was like.
Because it could be from the last 3 years if you stop that however many years.
I mean, okay, so it's like, you know, okay, I mean, it's just like one thing I realized about myself is that, like, you know, like I smoked enough weed to know that I get panic attacks, and I'm like, you know what, this just ain't for me. And I think like once you get to that point, you know what I mean, like it's kind of freeing, because I don't really feel like peer pressured. I don't really have, like, you're kind of lame if you make someone feel bad about like not smoking weed. So like, you know, one thing I guess was like I was worried that like, oh, I don't drink, I don't smoke, oh fuck, I'm a square, god damn, nobody's gonna want to hang out with me. That's kind of a lame like reasoning, you know what I mean? But like all my friends, I'm friends with a lot of stoners, man, and like we still kick it, we still hang out. Like I was worried that I was worried that I had to keep up with them to be cool. And you know, I stopped smoking, I stopped drinking like during the pandemic, and I'm like, yeah, no, I still get the party invites, shit. Like, I'm still at the kickback, so I'm like, all right, this is cool, like fuck it, I'm here, man, I appreciate it.
Man.
That's super dope. Well, shit, man, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for
thank you, man,
for joining us today.
You.
It was fucking amazing having you here. I want to just last things you want to say to the folks back at home?
Do art, find a way to express yourself, man. Like your point of view. I have so many friends who are afraid of doing comedy because they think nobody cares about them. I promise you, people want to hear what you have to say. You matter. I hope at the end of the day, I hope you know that you matter. Yeah.
And where can I find you at?
You can find me at Ariel51 underscore Ariel51 underscore artist on Instagram. Shout out Palms Up Academy. You could find them on Instagram as well. If you ever want to go to a really dope open mic, you know, check out Palms Up Academy.
I'm biking uphill and it's burning my quad.
Oh, let's go.
Yo, that sounds painful.
Out everyone.
Mind Tree Radio. Radio.
Look at this distinguished gentleman. Look at this distinguished gentleman. And now you're comedian. And now you're comedian. And now you're comedian. And now you're comedian. And now you're comedian.
Switching it up.
Gonna put this over here. Hi guys. So I'm a people pleaser, which makes no sense because I don't even like most people. I feel like I'd be a really good dad, actually. That's a great transition, you know. Not because I'm responsible. Like, not because I'm responsible. It's mostly just because, like, I know how to commit to, like, a dad joke. You know what I mean? Like, I would drown my kids in dad jokes, you know. Not literally, but, like, you know, like... No, like for example, like if my kids wanted a dog, I'd get them a dog, but I'd make sure that I get to pick the name because I want to call him Peeve, so I can show everyone my pet peeve.
Sir. Damn it.
I know. Okay, no. So I'm actually very glad that you guys laughed at that. I actually. You know, I'm glad that actually came really well because I brought my own laughs actually. Yeah, because like okay, like what if like the worst case scenario nobody laughs at my joke? Not the worst case, but I make that same joke like, hey everybody, I wish I had a dog. I'd call him Peeve, and then I'd just play this. I brought my own laughs, people. I brought my own laughs. Don't ask where I got the recording. I brought my own laughs. Yeah, no, dude, I am, look, I am killing up here, okay? I'm killing. How much time do I even have?
Minute and a half.
Alright, minute and a half, cool. So, you know, I'm all about, like, shattering toxic masculinity, destroying the patriarchy.
So loud.
I know, and I'm loudly trying to destroy it. Like, I make sure, like, I'm conscious of how much emotional labor my female friends are doing.
Yeah!
You know, so if I'm ever, like, feeling, like, suicidal, I just call up my guy friends. I put that shit on them. You know what I mean? Like, no, because, like, I'm just cautious of it. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm at the top of the balcony, I'm going to need you to know that, look, you're going to be under a lot of pressure. Like a lot. Okay? And I need you to hold on to that pressure, okay? Remember? Thank you. I appreciate that. Alright. So, how much time do I got left?
Oh my gosh.
Alright, cool. 30 seconds? Jesus. Alright, thank you. So, alright, like the final, so anybody here who knows comedy knows like the final joke is always like the hardest. And I don't have one.
Fantastic. Mind Tree Radio.